How we doing?
Good.
I'm doing well. Great. I got an eye patch on. Okay, so what happened, right? Dan, I wasn't like this 2 days ago,
You definitely weren't like that 2 days
but
ago.
I am now. Okay.
And I just wish I had known because I would have worn my eye patch.
I wish I would have told you. Do you keep an eye patch handy?
I got a whole pirate outfit.
Okay.
Look at this hair, right?
Very true.
It's two things, you know.
You got the beard and the mustache and
That's
everything,
right.
man. So I feel like a pirate today, guys. Welcome. We had a little bit of a incident where I got some damage in the eye, but we got some foreign objects out of it. I can't disclose what because we don't want to lose our, we just can't disclose it. So that's what it is. But anyway, we're like temporarily blind, but I'm so glad to be doing this show here because the show goes on. The show goes on, and you would have brought your pirate hatch too.
I would have if I had known.
So here we are, guys. Welcome to the Middleman Podcast, Patchy Edition. Okay, episode 113 of the Middleman Podcast. I'm here with Dan Dearborn from Encore Studios. How you feeling, Dan? Welcome to the show.
Good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. So, you had me on your show, so it's only right that I reciprocate the favor. We talked about me and what I do, and I was really grateful to be on your show because I don't go on a lot of shows often. Honestly, I think you may have been my second show that I've ever done other than my own. Yeah, that actually got published.
Well, you have a standing invitation. Anytime you want to promote anything or just talk about something, get outside the box of what you already do, you're welcome down to the studio anytime. You have to know that.
I appreciate that, man. You are such a genuine dude, We went through Atmosphere. We talked about Atmosphere the last episode with Mario, who, real quick, shout out our designated honorary director here. We got Mario in the building. Round of applause here.
I'm trying my best.
We are giving Michael a day off. No, he had to go to work. So Mario's stepping in. So thank you for being here and, getting this done for us. But as I was saying, we just did Atmosphere. And, the whole time, first of all, Encore Studios did sponsor Atmosphere. You guys provided the lights. You guys are such a fantastic venue and you are such a great individual. You're so genuine and you're willing to help anyone at all costs, and I think that's great about you. But we were there hosting like the original planning of Atmosphere in Encore Studios, and that was like super legendary, man. So thank you for that.
That's true. And I'll be honest, just a shout out to the entire Atmosphere team. It was amazing to me watching all the young guys get together and really do such a great job. You don't expect that from younger cats. You expect that you're going to screw up, you're going to make some mistakes, you're going to forget something, somebody's not going to show up. And you guys were really tight the entire time. I know I would talk to Steve and, hey, did you guys do this? Because you already did that. Well, how about this? Because you already did that. I'm like, you guys are pretty good, man. Like I was very impressed by the whole thing from start to finish.
Thank you. Team Atmosphere, Steez is a big part of the mastermind there. Dude, I've never seen someone so well at crunching numbers mentally. Like he's unbelievable at just crunching numbers and like seeing a vision and picking it up. And it's pretty great. So shout out to Steez, because honestly, he didn't make that bridge between us. We had that bridge established a long time ago when we were at the Sanctuary Studio.
Right.
We had mentioned it on your show. That's where I met you. And you told me about the sandwiches.
That's right.
And you said that you said the sandwiches are the way to go.
That's true.
As they were. So yeah, man. So from there, years go by and here we are circling back around like what, 2 years, 2 years, give or take now. Yeah. And here we are circling back and I'm honored to have you on the show. And, I've seen Encore Studio at different times in my life. But right now, man, it's just like, it's so legit. It's so awesome. You were allowing us to do rehearsals there during the Atmosphere week and everything like that. So once again, man, thank you for letting us do that because that was pretty kick-ass.
That's literally why I started that. I know up in this area, there was a lack of just rehearsal space.
Okay.
There's a lot of recording studios, but there wasn't a lot of space for guys to rehearse. And where I grew up and where I came from, that was all over. Like you didn't play in somebody's garage or you didn't play, like you went, there were thousands of rehearsal studios and I wanted to kind of give that back. The other thing with you saying about just willing to help out, I know when I came up, it was so tough getting anybody to help you, getting anybody to educate you, help you in the business. Everybody was stepping over everybody else, trying to be the next band or the next artist to come out. It was just so tough. And I didn't want to perpetuate that any longer. Like I wanted to be able to have a place where people could go to learn, to just kind of do their thing. And
because you've been through the struggle, so you wanted to give back. You had just mentioned from where you came from. Where did you come from, Dan? Where were you? Like, I don't know a lot about you. You know, you learned a lot about me during my interview on your show. And it's time we learned about you. So give us the backstory, man. Where did you originate from?
So I guess quick backstory. So I'm originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
Central middle, kind of by the shore. So I was a beach kid growing up.
The hair is fitting.
I come from a musical family, so I have a lot of. There was a music classical sheet music publishing company in Manhattan called Padelson's Music, and it had been there for 90 years, and unfortunately they closed down about 11 years ago. Just the internet kind of came in and kind of crushed everybody's thing, but they were right across from Carnegie Hall, and they like every great musician that came to Carnegie Hall would shop and buy from our family. So I kind of grew up in that musical atmosphere. There were a lot of guys played music, or were artsy. There were artists. There were writers. So I just kind of immersed in that artistic atmosphere.
So that's where it originated from. So you're in New Jersey. So you were around the atmosphere. What was the first instrument that you picked up?
So I played saxophone in my school band.
Okay.
Because my father played saxophone a little bit.
Very cool.
So I tried that, but in 1979, 1980, saxophone wasn't cool. Like nobody was looking at the dorky little kid, you know, running around in corduroys with a saxophone. So I just wanted to be the guy that people would notice. So you gravitate, you leave that, and you're like, well, I bet I could play guitar. And I started playing with some guys in the area, and I kind of switched to bass guitar. Kind of learned that. Like a lot of my early learning came from the guys I played with who had been taking lessons for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
So I was kind of behind everybody. They were like, well, we've been taking lessons since we were 9. I was like, oh, I started playing at 13. So I was a little bit behind. So I would be playing with somebody. They'd say, well, play this one. I'm like, what is that note? And they'd show it to me and say, well, what is that? What are you doing? Well, that's a chord. What kind of chord is it? And he'd show me. And I kind of watched these guys in high school that I grew up with who were much better than I was. And I talk about them all the time, just the fact that these young guys who really could say, like, get this dopey idiot out of here. Really took the time, kind of showed me some stuff. So I had a great learning with that. Then of course you go on and take lessons.
Was that like discouraging to you working with those guys, like seeing their skill set, how great they were they great teachers to you the whole time?
No. It's funny. The very first lesson I took, I had a guitar teacher who said, yeah, just so you know, man, your hands are too small and fat. You're never going to play guitar. I was like, really?
Wow.
I was like, bro, I'm totally going to play guitar now. If you tell me I can't do something, like, you can't take the trash out. Well, you're right. I'm not going to take the trash out. But what I wanted to do is, like, you can't play guitar. I'm like, bro, I'm only going to do guitar. And
yeah.
That's all I did. So I played probably 8 hours a day for 20 or 30 years. That's all I did.
20, 30 years?
Yeah.
Blistering, right?
Yeah. Just that. That's all you did was play guitar. So, hey man, you want to come out? Nah, man, I'm going to go in. But there were a lot more musicians back then because there no video games, no internet. Like you
was it more so the sound that like drew you towards a guitar? Was it what were you so infatuated about with the guitar that made you want to learn it?
It was seeing the iconic rock bands back in the 70s. There was Kiss, Ted Nugent, Alice Cooper. Like there were these bands that were coming on, like Kiss came on in these outfits and the makeup. And you're like, oh my God, like that's so cool. Like girls were screaming, they were selling merchandise, everything was blowing up for them. And you're like, you wanted to do that. Why would you not want to do that? When the circus comes to town, they're having so much fun. You're like, oh my God, I totally want to do that.
Yeah.
And it was always the singer and the guitar player got the girls. So you just wanted to be. Well,
do you do both? Don't you do both?
I do actually. Yeah. So I actually started out singing.
Double whammy.
Yeah, and you guys can go on my Spotify, Dan Dearborn.
Yes,
check
sir.
out some stuff.
I was on there. I can't wait to talk about it.
With the other 2 followers that are on there, watch out. Don't break Spotify on me. But so I did that. It was funny. I had a music teacher, Mr. Wetterman, in 3rd grade. He had us all sitting in.
Kind of insane that you remember his name.
Well,
impactful, huh?
It's very impactful. So it was a new school. I just moved to this town first day, and he had a bunch of us sitting in a row, and we were singing Yellow Submarine. So we're just singing, we all live, and we're just singing.
Submarine.
And he said, "Oh my God, who did that?" And it was me and a kid, Vinny, and a kid, Mark. And we all looked at him, we were like, "Oh, he did. It wasn't me. It wasn't me." And he said, "Who sang so great?" And he was, "Oh, that of course was me." So he said, "Well, Vinny and Mark, I know you guys, so I don't think it was you." And he pointed at me, "Sing that song." I was like, "Oh, and you're so embarrassed." And we are. I don't know, say it. We are. And like, "That's your voice is beautiful." And it was the first time anybody had ever told me I'd done anything good. My father was very tough on me. Great man, loved him, but just didn't give out compliments easily. So that was the first time somebody told me, like, "You're amazing. That's so good." And I went with that. And they created a chorus in that school around me. And
wow,
I had a solo.
That's wild.
Rainbow Connection solo, third grade.
Very
78.
cool. Very cool.
You guys remember that?
That's awesome, man.
But yeah,
so the school really supported you in that aspect.
Yeah.
So, and you had mentioned that your father was tough on you. Did he support you in that aspect as well once he started to see some promise in it?
No, he didn't. His whole thing was, "Hey, you sound good at 15. Let's see how you sound at 17. 17. Hey, you sound good at 17. Let's see how you sound at 19." And then you get signed. You're going, "Well, like you're on the road. Let's see what happens when you make $1 million." Yeah, nothing was enough. But I learned to look at that and say, like, nothing is enough. Like, when something's enough, then you can give up. When you've reached that point where you've done everything, then you can just not do anything.
So the early inspiration came from singing, was from third grade, and then the guitar came from, the bands and just living in that era and seeing what's going on. So then you took 20 to 30 years and kind of just kept to yourself and just mastered, studied, and learned guitar.
Well, I toured through the 90s.
Well, who'd you tour with?
Well,
can we slow down a little bit, actually? Can we slow down a little bit?
I was just kidding. I didn't tour through the 90s.
Well, no, because I feel like we're going to be, what got you to this tour? Like, there had to be little building blocks and steps, correct? It's not like.
Yeah. So there were guys you played with, and you always thought you were good enough, and you said, and you'd send your stuff out, and a manager would come by because they liked what you have, and they would question you, like, "Hey, how many T-shirts did you sell?" And you're like, "Well,
I think it's gonna work.
We don't have any T-shirts." And, "Well, how many cassettes did you sell?" Like, "We sold 50 or 100, whatever it was." I said, how many people do you have on your mailing list?" And I said, we have 200 people on our mailing list. And he said, "Okay, well, industry standard is you get a 3% return from everyone on your mailing list.
Okay.
So if your mailing list is 200, you're getting 6 people to show up for your gigs. Calls when you have 30,000 people on your mailing list. Calls when you've sold 1,500 cassettes. Calls when you have merch. Calls when you're ready. Like, our job is not to come in and do this for you. You're a good raw band, but you need to be at a certain level before we're even going to think about talking to you."
Mm-hmm.
So we took a year and we got that together. And that was my senior year, and we got that together. And
who's we?
Just the guys I was playing with.
Okay.
Just the guys.
So was that like very short term, or was it a very long term?
So there were some guys were long term, some guys were longer, some guys were short term.
Gotcha.
And I was very hard to deal with, so I was a little bit out of control.
Okay. Interesting.
So.
Very interesting.
So well, just they say like lead singers are historically hard to get along with.
Yeah, I've heard
everything's got to be about you. You're always right. Everybody else is wrong. I don't even know why you guys are here. They're coming to see me. They're not coming to see you.
Do you felt like that's kind of what you gave off to them? Oh my God,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
I've said horrible things to people. There's 30 or 35 people that I for over a 13-year period that I toured with. That probably 5 I talked to today.
Wow.
And I burned every other bridge out there.
Insane. Okay.
So
yeah. And then you had to turn over a new leaf eventually, I'm sure.
Well, I got sick of it. So around 2001 or 2, we had our families come out. We were doing an opening for a band called Brittany Fox, and our families came out, wives and kids and stuff, and I had my daughter Jessica come out, and she was 9. She was about 9 or 10 at the time, and and I got up on stage and I said all this stuff, and you guys, it's your job, tear down the establishment, fuck the man, we're getting crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm firing the crowd up, and
Uh-huh.
I gotta play my set, and I get off, and she comes up to me and she goes, "Did you mean all those things you said on stage?" I'm like, "All right, so first of all, that's my job. That's what I do on stage. I just say that shit.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to college, you're getting a fucking job. Like you're not, everything I say there, that's just nonsense."
Yeah.
And I realized what a parody I'd become of myself. But there was also so much internal strife and drama going on within the music itself. Like everybody thinks being in a band is gonna be like, that's gonna be great fun, but it's not. Wherever you work, if you're a teacher, if you're a doctor, if you work at Walmart, that becomes a crappy job. That work just becomes so lagging and tough, and you hate the people you work with. Somebody calls out, they don't show up, you have to pick up their shift. Now you're doing their work, you're not getting the money you need. That's what being in a band is like.
I hear that. I've heard that.
Same thing. You hate the people you tour with. People say, "Hey, you guys friends?" Like, no, we're not friends. Like, we can hate each other. Like, I hope this guy dies after.
Do you think it's because of the environment?
No, I just think it's a job. But everybody looks and says, like, "Oh, he's an actor. He must have it easier. They're in a band making lots of money. That's really good." Like, it is. It's good. You're not building houses. You're not digging ditches. So it's better in some senses. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because in digging ditches, you don't have to deal with the idiots in a band. You
got to deal with the idiots who dig ditches.
And that's an honest job. But everybody looks at that and romanticizes the idea. But it's just another job that you hate the people you're working with. God, this fucking guy, man. And then you're like, all right, curtains on, and you go on. All right, I love you guys. All right. You take your bag, you love this, and curtain goes down, like, fuck you, get the fuck away from me.
That's crazy. That is actually pretty wild.
Yeah,
so you were on tour. How long were you on tour?
13 years.
13 years. So where'd you go?
I've been over in Europe. I've been to Asia.
No shit. Awesome. Super
South
cool.
America, Canada.
Super cool. Any notable names you want to drop right now? Or that you could?
Oh, no. Well, lots of people. So we worked with Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Okay.
The guys in Skid Row, opened up for Dan Yankees. Winger, we did stints with Winger. Alice Cooper, we opened up for him every year for a couple of years, like small stints.
Now, you went on tour.
Striper was a band. That's one of my favorite bands, actually.
13 years you're on tour. Was it with the same band? Like the same?
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't. So you do stints where you have like a record deal. And you're working under that with these guys under this brand, and that kind of falls by the wayside, or you get dropped, and then you work towards the next thing. So I had a record deal with Enigma Records, and then I had 2 development deals after that, and you kind of work on those. So there were 3 separate entities, but it was just kind of like my thing, because you would take the song and say, "Well, these songs, I wrote these songs. We're taking these with me, and we're going to do them with this band. Oh, we're taking these songs. We're going to do." So you just kind of morph into the next.
Okay,
thing.
I got you. So basically, you were a solo act, composer, writer, singer, and you just had people behind you to kind of put the sound all together, make it all together?
That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But they were legitimate bands. They were bands you put together of guys that, like, we want to be a band, and we want to do this as like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Because even yourself, you idealize the situation of, like, I love this. We want to be the next Beatles. Like, 4 guys that all sing, they all write, they all love each other, and of course the Beatles hated each other. but when you dig under that surface, most bands have issues with each other. But the romanticized version of it is I want a band of brothers. We're going to go and do this together. So, and then of course everybody winds up hating each other because their voice isn't heard, or you see the singer getting some attention, and you're not getting enough attention.
So that's what you that's what you thought, and then I'm confused. So was like on the bill, like on the concert bill, it said Dan Dearborn? No.
They were all bands.
Okay.
Bands. I just happened to be the singer and guitar player.
Gotcha. Okay, and all the songs were, some of them may have been composed by you, and
so just about everything that I ever performed was written by me.
What was one of your hit songs? One of your favorite personal songs? Can we ask you that?
So I didn't have any hit songs.
Okay.
But
In Europe, you must have. Asia as well.
No, no. But so we were good enough to be an opening band that would get paid less than somebody that was a name.
Gotcha.
So if you were going to give these guys $6,000 for opening up, these idiots will do it for $4,000, and they're a good band. Like they're not gonna screw up.
Okay.
So you were just like a kind of like in the wrestling world, you have guys who just travel and they're the guys who get beat up all the time. That's kind of what we were.
Gotcha.
We were just a band that got beat up, and you made good money getting beat up by the bigger bands.
Wow.
And you never outshone the headliner,
Mm-hmm.
but you went on, you gave an honest effort, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And then it's at one point you want more than that, and you get a little full of yourself. And you're like, well, I should be where they are, and it's just.
Was that what happened to you, or?
No, I was just an asshole.
Okay.
I just.
We appreciate the honesty here at the Middleman Podcast. Honesty is the best policy. Remember, this podcast is not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. Here we are. I'm gonna open this up, get myself some tea in here. Cheers.
And thank you very much for the Arizona.
So I tried to put this beard on, and that didn't work out. That didn't work out at all. That's okay.
It's all right.
We have different things going on, bro.
That's how, I'm all for it.
But anyway, so you went on tour, okay, and then you said you became an asshole. Did you kind of get kicked out of what was going on, or did you decide that it was time?
No,
to
I was always I was always the guy who was going to take my ball and go home when it didn't go my way.
Okay,
so angry and I'm going home. Fuck you guys. And then you realize 10, 15 years later, you're like, man, I should have just shut up and played with these guys.
Yeah,
because I still have stuff that I recorded, or you watch an old video and you're like, man, those guys were powerful. They were such a good band, and I was so unappreciative of the moment I was in. There was a lot of drugs. I was out of control. Like I was a full blown drug addict, alcoholic. Like, I was off my nut.
Wow.
So you don't really see things clearly when you do that, and everybody else is wrong and you're right. And it's your music, it's your songs. Like if somebody would say, like, I remember having a fight with the last band I played with in the studio, and I'd come in with about 30 songs. Like, hey guys, here's the songs I want to do, and I'd play it down, I'd play it, and I play the next one. I get through all 30, and none of them they liked. I said, you got anything else? I said, no, these are 30 songs I'm bringing to the table. And I said, well, let me go through them again, listen to them again, because maybe second listen. So I played them again, I get to one. The drummer said, well, like, maybe that one. And I said, well, what's the problem? He said, well, maybe you could rewrite the chorus. I said, no, I'm not rewriting the chorus. The chorus is the chorus. That's the song. Mm-hmm. I said, if you don't like my shitty songs, you can write some shitty songs. So I'll play your shitty songs. I don't care. But until you guys write some shitty songs, you're going to play my shitty songs. So pick 7 fucking songs and let's go. Like,
yeah.
You guys are fucking idiots. Like,
so that happened. Okay.
So I didn't listen. Mm-hmm. I didn't look into, and yeah, I brought songs that were okay, but weren't up to snuff.
Now, let's talk about some of your songs here, because I did go on Spotify and I did do some research here. Okay. We're just going to roll through the punches real quick since we're talking about it. One of my favorite ones, I'm going to just start off with my favorite one, had to be Champagne.
I love that song.
Champagne's it's a tempo song that's got me excited. I like the tempo in the background with the drum. You just hear that the whole time throughout the song. And these songs, when I think of someone writing a song, they also write all the notes as far as drummers, guitar, bass, things like that. Did you do?
No.
Okay.
No. So kind of in a band situation, I'll come in, I'll flesh out, here's the chords, here's the melody line, here's the words. I kind of want it to go like this. And the drummer will kind of start catching the groove, and the bass player will find the notes out, and he'll start playing. Where you going there? Like, okay. And the bass player will kind of create his. So everyone else created their own lines within the framework of the song. Mm-hmm. But you would bring the structure of the song. Like, here's the chord structure. Here's the patterns it goes through. Here's where my vocal lines go, and we'll create everything around.
Well, you're, off the camera, you and I have spoken, and you had mentioned that writing is something that you are extremely passionate about. You can see that through like your Facebook as well. There's some things that you repost. What is the importance of writing to you? Writing music? Why are you so passionate about it?
I guess it's something I just fell into when I started playing. I didn't know that being a good songwriter was a talent. And clearly,
What makes a good songwriter?
Well, I don't know because I'm sitting here in NEPA running a studio and not on tour. So, I mean, if I knew what made a good song, I'd be somewhere else with my great songs.
Well, what did you think made a great songwriter?
What makes somebody comfortable with songwriting is just repeatedly writing a song. Mm-hmm. So, if you brought any guitar player in here who's been playing for 10 years and said, "Hey, play me a guitar solo," he'd play a little lick on the keyboard. Absolutely, play it. Now, play me a song. He goes, "Oh, I don't know how to. I don't put that together." It's a part of being a musician that most musicians don't go after. I've mastered my instrument. I can play 1,000 licks. I can play all these notes. I can play every chord pattern, chord inversion of a chord. But I can't put them together. Yeah, C, a C minor, C minor 7, gotcha. C add 9. So there's all these different versions of a chord which work within. Instead of just playing a C, you can C minor. But that's just something most musicians don't think about. And I kind of fell into it because I didn't know any better. Like the bands I was reading about in the rock magazines, we talking about all the songs there, and I was like, I guess I should just write a song. So I started writing songs, and of course, your first 20 songs are crap, and then you start falling into I kind of like the way this sounds, and you just write songs because you don't know any better, and then you become okay at it, and you become comfortable. So I'm very comfortable with writing music and songs, and I just wish more people would be comfortable with the art of writing.
What are some of the, before I ask this question, on the camera's good? Okay. What are some of the growing pains that you had to go through with writing? You said comfortability. It sounds like you had to go through a lot of failure to get through to where you feel comfortable. And how did you gauge that comfortability? Like, how did you know I'm comfortable? I'm feeling good. What were some of the growing pains?
So you would write something, and your friends would be like, "Yeah, okay." And then eventually a year later, you play something, and you go, "Wow, that's pretty good." And then you play something, and people go like, "That's a great song." Like, we really like that. So just people reacting to that, and your friends are going to be your best critics because they don't give a flying how you feel. In fact, your friends want to pile on top of you.
Yeah, Mario tells me how shitty. He tells me how shitty the podcast is all the time. He's like, "Dude, you're wasting your fucking time."
That's why friends are the best, because they will tell you blunt, straight out, like, "Bro, you totally sucked, man. That's the worst song I've ever heard." And then you play something like, "Damn, I really wish I could tell you that sucked, but that was pretty good." Really? and then you remember the moment you created that song and what was special about it. What did you do? And as you go on and become a better musician, you learn theory and bigger and more difficult chord voicings. So your writing takes on a different. I wrote a lot of songs between 15 and 25 that I think are brilliant, that I can't write like that because I didn't know any better. Like, I was just a dumb idiot throwing chords together. Like, "That sounds good. Let me play this. This sounds good too." And you get to it like that. I would never write a song like that because I know now how chords are supposed to interact with each other. I know what chords work well with each other.
That's a part of music theory.
Yeah, and it's just when you know something's right or wrong, you know not to do that anymore. So I'm not going to do this because I know I shouldn't do that. But that oftentimes stifles the creativity, is knowing all the rules.
Okay.
You can paint a great picture, but if you're just an idiot throwing some stuff up there and you happen to come up with a masterpiece like that, like a trained artist would never do that because they know you don't use those color combinations. You don't move the brush in that manner against.
Yeah, but sometimes you can make a hit out of that.
Sometimes,
it's pretty unique when they do that.
Throw it on a canvas and come up with something beautiful.
I feel like Jimi Hendrix did a lot of that. I really don't know, but I feel like some of his songs, some of the masterpiece, were just chaotic, and he just made it happen. And it's just I think of what's the song? I think it's called Manic Depression. Yeah, at the end of Manic Depression, if you know that song, it just sounds like they're in the room just jamming. Like, there wasn't really much of a orchestra to it. They were just jamming towards the end of that song. So
again, a lot of the things that were done in the 60s and 70s were on these very archaic, almost caveman-like equipment that they didn't have in the mid to late 70s to the 80s. You had 64-track studios. Back, when the Beatles and the Stones were working, there were 4-track studios. You had 4 tracks. You have to record something, bounce it down to 1 track, then you get 3 tracks. Then you bounce it down to 1 track, bounce those 2 down, Now you have all your stuff on one track and you could create. It was just so much harder to do it.
Okay.
And now we have unlimited tracks. Now with the digital world, I can record 700 tracks of just vocals and go through them and pick out which ones I like and piece them together and move parts along. You couldn't do that. So it was much harder. And
so like, I'm trying to visualize what you're describing with that track 1, take it down, put it on track 2, take it down, put it on track 3. It kind of sounds like it's like if you were playing a guitar, that's one track.
Right.
If someone was playing the bass, that's another track. But then you can't repeat the track that you did. Like it kind of just layers on top.
Right. So you would get a nice mix of that guitar and that bass on 2 tracks. And then you would record those 2 tracks on this track over here. So now you have the bass and the guitar on one track. So you have 3 tracks left open. Now let's say you go and you throw a guitar, another guitar line.
Oh, and now there's I got it now. I'm picking up.
So now you have the bass and the guitar on one track. You have a new guitar coming in and a vocal.
Yep.
But you can't change anything on this other guitar and bass track because that's already there except the volume. And now you throw a guitar and a bass or a guitar and a vocal line on that, and you bounce that down to one track. So now you get those. Now you record those 3 tracks onto this 4th track. Yeah. Now you have one track with guitar, bass, guitar, and vocals. Now you have 3 tracks left open to do something.
So technology has really advanced the game in producing music, but do you feel like the creativity has like stifled since?
What kind of idiot goes on to a podcast and doesn't turn his phone off?
I've done that once before. Don't worry, you're not alone.
I'm going to turn this off now. I apologize.
It's okay.
I hope you cut this out.
No, it's all right.
Or you leave it in. Cool. People are like, that guy.
You're cool. You know what? Hey, a little break in a conversation, guys. We have something new and exciting adding to the podcast. Shout out Christopher, my brother. He conjured up this idea. I think it's brilliant. So tea time, not brought to you by, but inspired by. Cheers, my good man. We are elevating it, and we are bringing it into an actual tea pot here that's on the table. And within this teapot, there are questions conjured up by guests who have been here before, people within my circle, myself, we throw it in there. And hopefully you guys will be commenting as well what you want to throw in the pot, and we'll pull it out and we'll ask you a question. So, Dan, I think it's the first time we're going to try this tea time out, and we'll see what comes out.
I can't believe it. Are you trying it out for the first time because I'm that awesome, or are you trying it out because nobody's going to watch this, and if it fails...
That's a flop. The parrot, no! All right. No, don't worry. Everyone's gonna watch this. It's gonna go on even after.
My girlfriend's not even gonna watch this.
Hey, come on now.
She'll
take it easy.
She'll watch this.
All right, I'm gonna let you pick it.
Okay.
I'll read it though, because there we go. All right. What is the question of the first tea time of the Middleman Podcast? Shout out the pot. It's tea time. All right. Here we go. That was crossed out. I kind of ripped it a little bit, but it says, would you rather be stranded at sea or lost in space? Why? Okay, so that is the question. Would you rather be stranded
at sea
or lost in space?
Oh no, stranded at sea, absolutely.
I think that's a no-brainer.
Lost in space is, man, you're done. You have whatever 42 hours of oxygen left. I'm done. At least there's a chance lost at sea.
I agree. That was a good one. That was the first question. Why don't we should pull out another one. That was very simple. Okay. I think we should pull another one. I got this one. Here we go. Let's see what we get. Very simple. That was answered in 5 seconds, guys. It didn't take too long. All right, here we go.
I want to know who wrote that question.
I think that was our director.
That's a great question. I loved it. I loved it. I was just saying, I like the simple questions.
I think that was our director.
Now this is going to be horrible. It's going to be a tough question.
All right, hold on, Mario. Mario, since you're in the room here, you're directing us. What is your option there? Are you going to sea or are you going to space?
It really all depends on the elements. If I'm set up in space where it's actually pretty cool, I might take space because, zero gravity. The space madness will kind of suck, though. Sea just kind of scares me because I feel like I got to do more to survive. Like, if I don't, I'll die. Versus if I'm lost at space, I got up there in something that could get me up there. So I must have some food and some, nice bed and everything. But sea's kind of scary, though, because you would literally have to do everything you can to survive.
I think I'll still take my chance with the sea. Question number 2. This one's a great one. I like this one.
Oh, boy.
If you were put on death row, what would your last meal be? That is a great one. All right. I'll let you know what mine is.
That
Simple.
honestly is going to change with any given day. So if I went 2 weeks without having Chinese food, I'd probably be like, Chinese food. But I would say, and a lot of Americans won't know this, but there's an English dish called Yorkshire pudding, and it's like a very bready, doughy, almost biscuit like, but they're very light and fluffy.
May you say it again? What is it?
Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire
pudding, and it's actually made with
how do you spell that?
With a beef fat drippings. So you want to make a nice roast with it, and use those drippings to make these delicious Yorkshire puddings. YORKSHIRE pudding. Amazing. And my mother, it would have to be my mother's, because she made it differently and better than anyone else. But it's so amazing.
I see it. Hold on.
I'd have that and like a roast and a little bit of gravy made from that. And
well, that does look good. That looks very interesting.
So,
I like that. That looks
now the traditional way they make them in those little cups is a little bit different than my
What's
mother.
Is that like a heritage thing?
Yeah,
where's that originate from?
It is. Well, it's an English thing. I'm English, and we ate a lot of not traditional English, but we ate very English-like stuff when I was growing up. So
I am a sucker for some breaded chicken. Absolutely love breaded chicken. So like, I'm a breaded chicken. Let me get some mashed potatoes. Very very American dish there. But I need pizza, so like I'm gonna get pizza on the side as well, because I'm not dying without eating a slice of pizza. And I think a Reese's peanut butter cup. That'll be.
I think I actually want to change my last meal. It's going to be like from an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to ride that out for 2 or 3 years. I'm not done yet. No, Warden, I'm not done.
I'm not done.
I'm just taking a break. I'm coming back to the plate. I'll be right back to this. Bring another plate. It'd have to be like an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Big fan of sushi as well. Sushi.
I love sushi. Sushi's great.
Shrimp tempura. And that was Tea Time. Not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. What a fantastic session. That's how we do it.
I like that. That's
all right. So, where were we? We were talking about your music, and then we got into like a tangent, and we're getting right back to it. So, Champagne, one of my favorites, right? And then we were talking about songwriting and things like that. Someone to Remember was good. Is that a recent track or is that an older track?
No, that's an older track too.
I
wrote that probably in 95 maybe.
So what I enjoyed about Someone to Remember was I was just hearing it for the first couple of times, but I was able to catch like what was going to be said next because I heard the melody. I pretty much saw your vision. I was like, okay, beat stopped. What's going to come in? The chorus.
Right.
Bang. Just like that, and like the notes as well. You were singing that, correct? That's your voice, 100%. He does have a great voice. It did transpire from 13 all the way to where he is now. That is undisclosed.
And that's the problem with telling a singer they have a good voice. They're like, you're right, I do have a great voice. I'm the best in the world. Like, I didn't say you were the best. I said you had a good voice. So I heard I was the best. That's what we hear.
People tell me I have a podcast voice, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, but we're here just talking, So, right. And then I did have another song here that I thought was pretty funny. Only Present I Don't Want. Only Present I Don't Want. Guys, I'm going to tell you, listen to this song. That's it. Just listen to the song. Only Present I Don't Want. I will say, I thought I heard Only Present I Don't Want is cocaine. I thought I heard that. I started, and then it came around again. Hey, I swear to God, I thought that's what it was. I heard it come around again, and I was like, okay, that's not what he said, but it's still very funny, man.
That's great.
That's a quirky song there.
So actually, that's it's funny you mentioned that song because that's a Christmas song.
It is.
I've written quite a few Christmas songs, and I will debut this information right here. I am in the process of releasing a holiday CD that's going to have 14 or 15 songs on it that I've written that are original songs that I'm having other bands in the air. I have about 7 of them covered from some other bands that I'm friends with that have said yes, they'll come in and record their version of a song I've written.
Awesome.
So
very cool.
It'll be like 7 songs done by me, and then 7 songs done by some bands and some solo artists that I have a lot of respect for and enjoy.
Do you have a timeline for that?
Yes, November week 2.
No shit, really? That soon, huh?
Yeah, I gotta.
Masterful.
I gotta crack a lacking.
Yeah. You're running out of time here.
So I think I told a couple of the bands, like, don't worry, I'll have stuff to you by last week of August. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll get stuff to you tomorrow. I swear to God. So
time.
So a lot of this is going to be like a couple weekends, get some bands in there, and rock it out. You guys are good, and I'll finish it up. And then
Very cool,
and then I'll
man.
make some master stuff and put it out.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear that. What are you gonna? Do you have a track title? Excuse me, album title?
I don't. Might be like Encore presents Dan Dearborn and Friends, or something like that. I don't know. I really didn't think about it.
Well, let's talk about Encore. But before we end this off, I just wanted to, I did go ahead and looked at your Spotify, your Spotify account. And it says here, he toured professionally over 13 years through the 90s to the early 2000s, under record and development deals with Enigma, Elektra, and Megaforce Sony record labels. He began playing music in 1983 and has always been the driving force, and then it features names that you already featured with people who you toured with, and then it goes, he gets to work with and hang out with and mentor many artists through Encore Studios, and that has been the greatest joy he has had in music. Thank you for stopping in. Make sure you check out all his accounts and his music. So, right there, Encore Studio. When did that come about, and what brought you to Pennsylvania? You said you were from New Jersey. Why Pennsylvania? Is that the original home of Encore Studios, or has it moved?
No. So Encore Studios has only been around since 2020.
Okay.
We opened up in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, and I guess unfortunately, my ex-wife brought me to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I'm only here with you fucking people because of my ex-wife. No, I'm just kidding. I was resisting. I was honestly resisting to moving out here, and I was definitely very Jersey for quite a few years.
Jersey.
When I was out here, like, fucking PA people, they're driving so slow. I gotta get somewhere. Where you going? I'm going to get coffee. No, I need coffee right now.
Jersey people time.
So I was rough. I've definitely calmed down. It was she was the mother of my children, and we were married for 30 years, and now we're not.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So now I'm up here. I have a new girlfriend.
You hear that? He's not single.
How you doing? Thank God.
How you doing?
Nobody except my girlfriend wants this mess at all.
How you doing?
She's a strong, wonderful woman. Put up with this mess. I'll be honest.
You got something to say?
He's single and ready to mingle.
No, not him.
Who?
He's got a girlfriend, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, he's taking.
Yeah, no, please don't. He don't know what he's talking. I swear to God,
he
baby.
said it.
It's not me. Get me beat up. But yeah, so moved up here because we wanted to get away from crazy family and stuff. And you always think if you make a move, it's going to be the best move. But when you make these big changes in life where you say everything's horrible right here, but if only I was over here, but you're still bringing who you are over here. So you're probably going to be in the same situation. I'm going to move to New Mexico. Really? Because I'm going to California. Yeah, you're going to be the same mess in California that you were here. So if you can't fix where you already are, you're probably going to be a wreck somewhere else. That's
interesting. That's an interesting take because, a lot of people try to tell you to like reset, and get somewhere new,
Yeah, no, I think it's still the same you wherever you go. So you can make you can make the surroundings different. Like, I really love the beach. You're a jerk, though. You're going to be a jerk at the beach. Like, I'm an asshole. I'm going to be an asshole whether I'm here in Scranton or Jersey or the beach or the mountains. Like, I'm just going to be, I'm going to be me. So I already know that.
Okay.
So I know, I'm good being here now.
That's how you got to Pennsylvania. Encore Studios 2020. Just you?
No, so I used to have a business partner. So,
okay.
So I played in a band called the Barstool Boys. We were a cover band, and we were doing fairly well. We had a lot of gigs, and COVID happened, and of course, shut everybody down.
Yeah.
And we lost.
Fuck that COVID, bro. I swear to God, man. That COVID was a son of a bitch.
We lost a ton of gigs during 2020. So we said, why don't we open up a rehearsal studio? Because he was also from Jersey, so he knew the struggle. So we opened as a rehearsal studio, and I really thought if I present a rehearsal studio to the musicians of Pennsylvania, they're going to love it. They're going to know exactly what it is, and I'm going to make $9 billion off this. and the musicians in Pennsylvania said, what are you opening? I said, a rehearsal studio. I said, what's that? I'm like, oh, you come here and play. Oh, so we have to bring our equipment there? I'm like, no, I have all the equipment here. Oh, so I have to bring my guitar amps? Like, no, I have all the amps. Oh, so I bring my drums? No. So what do I bring? I said, just bring your guitars. And my guitar amps? I'm like, no. Man, like they just didn't know. So educating the area of what the rehearsal studio was. And just how convenient it is.
How was it when you guys opened? Was it steady or was it slow?
So when we first opened, everything was closed down. We were just inviting bands and musicians in to do these live streams on Facebook with us.
Okay.
And it was really in its early infancy, so it doesn't look anything like it does now. But we were just giving musicians a platform, and it was a free thing. Just come on in. You have nowhere else to play. Come on and we'll shoot you and we'll put it out there on the internet.
Very cool. Community.
Yeah, we just wanted people to have a place to go and an outlet to continue to push the agenda of music. And so that's really how it started.
Okay, so it started, you had a business partner, and then did you have both sides of the studio where you have that garage too, or is it just the one side? So when you started out,
no,
the equipment, did you have all that too, or did you have to make that? Because you have immaculate guys. There's a vlog out there that we did at Encore Studios. You know, Methodonics, Steez. You know, it was a session in the studio.
Methodonics, go listen to him.
Yeah, that's I think Dallas was there as well.
Dallas, that's the guy. Go listen to him. You're gonna drop names. I'm just
gonna. Yeah, but you can really see Encore Studio in its essence in that video. Everything, we had the lights going. I was in the booth with Methodonics at one point. And yeah, it's just a really great setup. So like, I know it didn't get like that right away.
No. It was honestly, it was a pile of crap when we started. And then you just add something and go, hey, it would be great. We should have this. And we'd have a band come in and say, wow, if you guys had this, like, that's a great idea. So we just started listening to people and just building it up little by little.
You still do listen to people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want to know. Steez, honestly, Steez PA was great when he came in because he offered insight into a different aspect of the business that I had no idea about.
Okay.
Or things I didn't think of. So I honestly, I learned a lot. So an old guy, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So he honestly was very valuable in just giving his opinion. And of course I listened to it. So a lot of
how did you two come across each other?
So it was him and a friend of his, Adam, who came down to try to see what we were doing, what we were about, and just kind of see the place. And I instantly like both those guys. Like they were very respectful, educated,
straight shooters,
great at communication, and I appreciated the way they just held themselves. And Steve asked if he could maybe do some work or come in, and my partner and I both said, yeah, then absolutely, come on and let's see what happens. And I wasn't even that well versed in the hip hop community about how they created their music, and I had my own preconceived notions about what it was, and it's both a lot more difficult and a lot easier than you would imagine. If you have the right team, like, you can do anything. So Steve is incredibly adept at running his sessions, and his artists know that. And I think that's what they like about him. But watching him create and watching those guys lay down their tracks and their rhymes and doubling their vocals, I was very humbling watching that, because you got to see it from an artistic sense, instead of saying, "Guys, not music," or the old guy yelling at the clouds on the front porch, because it wasn't my kind of music. So I thank him for that. It's opening me up to a different genre of music that I may have missed out on and not been able to be a part of. if not for him.
I think that's great that you say that about him, because before the show, I did talk to him and I asked him, I said, what would you say to, like, I looked at you as for him as a mentor. Okay. So I was like, what would you say about,
I already know what he's going to say.
Okay.
To make sure I clean up the studio before I leave. Because I always leave it messy for him.
No, not that. He goes,
okay. Well, then never mind. I don't do that.
I said, what is the best advice you received from Dan? He goes, some of the best advice I received from Dan was, if you want something in the music industry, you go and get that shit. Dan always is amazing for showing how to give a helping hand at all costs, as well as showing how to keep everything a business matter, but on a friendly basis at the same time, which has helped a lot with the business interactions on my side of work. So he appreciates you in a business aspect on the side of work, and
wow.
Your generosity and how genuine you are to him.
That's yeah. I honestly, I love him a lot. Like he's great for the music community. He's great for his artists. He's great for the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great guy. I just had to ask him. I was like, what do you think, man?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Thank you.
So, you got to mentor, you sometimes mentor Steve's, you mentor some of these artists. I've even seen you in methodonic sessions or someone sessions. Like you open up your mouth and you say what you think is right when it comes to the music, and you like to put some input in, and like who are some of the people that you mentored, and is that something that you really enjoy to do?
So, and I didn't even realize, but and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some bands who come through who might be having a difficult time with something, or getting a band together, or playing with other musicians, and they'll just kind of ask my advice, like, hey, what do you think? And then I'll really let loose and let them, like, it's okay, like this kind of shit's been happening for the last 50 years. Musicians have been unreliable. We don't show up. Something else happens. We get a new girlfriend, and you don't see us for 2 weeks. And instead of the knee-jerk reaction of going to somebody and yelling at them and confronting them in a negative way, I give them like, hey, try saying this, because I know how I used to interact with musicians was horrible. And it gets that because music is one of those things that's you're so emotionally connected to as a participant. So when someone else doesn't match your level of emotional connection, you get very offended on a great level. So you do and say things that you wouldn't do if your boss yelled, or if somebody at work did something like that. You just kind of let it pass. Called that again. I can't believe it. But it doesn't affect you on that emotional level. So I try to help guys see a bigger picture and kind of how they can make the relationship within their projects work better, because they know a different way to communicate.
I'm glad that you lived and learned that, because I do feel like even when we were doing atmosphere things, you came in and you would tell us a few things that we really did consider, and definitely made its way into the final product of what atmosphere was. Just because you were like, I think you should try this approach because I've seen this approach and it worked out better. So try it. Sponsorship packages was one of the things that you really chimed in on. And lighting and things of that nature. So, you definitely, you live, you learned, you give out the information, man. You're a very genuine dude, and you're kick-ass.
Do you know why? Because with music, you'll send your child to a music teacher.
Yeah.
And that teaches them to play the notes, but it doesn't teach them how to interact with the musicians they're going to play with. Like there's a school to be a doctor or an architect or an accountant or a business management courses. There's no music management courses. Mm-hmm. There's nothing out there that helps you navigate that personal world of music.
So with the music industry, how do you feel it is now as compared to how it was when you were growing up?
It's different, and I think there are less people connecting with music from a participation sense.
Okay.
Because they have other things to take their time away. And I'm not calling my kids out because I love my kids immensely, but they were all pretty musical, and they all had this inborn sense of kind of how to navigate music and sing and play. And my son was amazing. My daughters were amazing. And then they discovered video games, and you know, you would rather play Call of Duty for 13 hours with your buddies up all night on a weekend than play your instrument, because there's an instant gratification from the internet and technology and video games that you don't get from an instrument. Like, this is a 15-year commitment to have somebody say, you know, so, and that sucks, you know, that it takes so much effort to become great or even just mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
And a video game, you're like, dude, I crushed that entire village right now. I win. You know, you immediately feel fantastic and euphoric from that moment.
So the industry as a whole, you know, participation. What do you feel like people probably get into the music world? Do you think the people who get into it for the right reason, as in that they are musically inclined and that they want to create really great music, or do you think they see all the glitz and the glamour that, you know, that they want to chase after rather than the artistic side of the music thing?
I think, honestly, anybody who gets into music is getting into it because they want to get the girl, or they want to get the guy, or they want to get the friends, or they want to have some focus on them. And I think it's a very selfish thing that you do, that you wind up opening this whole world and you're like, oh my God, like, music becomes something else. I certainly jumped into music because I thought it was an easy way for me to have friends. Play a high school party on a Saturday night. Everybody loves you. Like, this is great. Everybody loves me now. Otherwise, I could have been just the idiot walking around that nobody cared about. For me, that was, and then you got some girls to say, oh, wow, you're really cool. Like, oh, this is great. But that doesn't sustain it. That's a quick knee-jerk reaction of why you get into it. And then you hit that next level of like, wow, like I like doing this. Like, this is fun. And then you kind of progress on that.
So you brought the guitar. Would you mind showing off a little bit? Is there anything that you wanted to showcase here?
Not necessarily showcase. I just so there are.
It's a lovely guitar, by the way. It looks amazing.
Thank you. This is the Tim Henson from Polyphia. This is his signature Ibanez classical.
Very sick.
I'm not anywhere near a Tim Henson, because that dude is insane and just a whole different level and does things that I don't do. But what I thought would be neat is just for any musicians that might see this, writing a song doesn't have to be, and I'm not saying you have to write a great song, but just write a song. Write 50 songs. You'll start to get comfortable with it. Write 50 songs like you play the C chord 50 times, where you've played your guitar solo to that song and rehearsed with your band. Just throw chords together and see what happens. But 12 possible notes. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, E, F, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, A sharp, B. Pick one of those.
I'm gonna go A sharp.
A sharp. Okay, yep. So A sharp.
Okay.
Now, would you want a major or a minor? Minor sounds a little bit sadder, more.
Yeah.
So you want to.
So that was.
So that's your A sharp right
okay.
there. So we'll start with an A sharp.
Are we gonna write a song right now?
We're gonna write a song right now.
Let's fucking do it
right now. So.
I was walking outside.
I already like it. There you go.
Saw a piece of metal, and it got in my eye. Are you serious? Do you have something to say? Hey, hit me with the chorus. No chorus? Come on. Hey. All right. Swinging with me mateys. Going through. Yeah, you know, I looked at her like she's a fool.
Yeah.
The fool, the gold. I'm over here, got the hold. Hey, are you ready?
So you can throw anything together. I can't believe you just jumped on that. That was awesome. I like that.
That was great.
And And of course, that was not a masterpiece thing. That was just throwing some chords together. But
Sign me.
That's literally what just writing a song is. Don't be afraid of it. Throw some things together. I've written 150 songs, of which maybe 10 are great for a nobody musician in the middle of Pennsylvania. But it's just what you do. You never know. If you don't throw it against the wall, if you don't try it, you don't get comfortable with it.
You'll never know. So. You'll never know, man. That was fantastic.
Thank
you.
I didn't think you were going to jump in. Like, I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to come up with some words.
Oh, don't worry, man.
That's crazy.
I'm hopefully I'm going to win the character of podcast character of the year at the Electric City Music Conference, which Encore Studios is nominated for.
So you're also nominated.
Yes, sir.
In 2 categories, right?
Yes, sir. Next week. It's going to be, it's going to already have happened, but I'll be sure to vlog it and things of that nature. Dan, we are at the 1 hour marker. We've had a blast here today. You have been one hell of a guest, man. I appreciate you for being real honest about your entire journey in the music industry. You talked about how you were an asshole at some point. You talked about the great times. You were just, as transparent as they come. But nonetheless, I understand you keep saying that you were an asshole, but you are a changed man, in my opinion.
I'm even more changed because of my new girlfriend. She's.
That's twice. That's twice she got shouted out. What do you got to say?
I would like to apologize to her for earlier. I totally misheard that. I apologize. Lovely woman. I'm sorry.
I do want to say one thing. If you're transparent about who you are, nobody can own you. People say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna unveil the secrets of your stuff in the past." I'm like, dude, my kids know that. There's nothing you can tell anybody that I'm either ashamed of or like I did what I did. I have no regrets. I'd probably do it all the same again, be the same guy I am today, and make those same mistakes. But nobody will ever be able to say like there's something from your past they can hold against you.
I love that, man. Is there anything that you want to leave off the people with? Where was that at? Encore Studios over in Archibald. Make sure you guys check them out.
Yeah, check us out on check me out on Spotify, on Facebook with the studio, Instagram and TikTok.
I love it, Dan. You are one hell of a guy, man. Definitely changed, in my opinion. Like I said, you said your girlfriend, she's definitely taking you far, but you realize the things that happen to you in your life and, what it could have been and how you could have made things better. And, I can't thank you enough again for sponsoring an Atmosphere and having us be a part of the studio, letting us there do all the work. Like, you're really a great dude, man. And if you didn't tell me how great the sandwiches were, I wonder if we would have ever met.
That's right. And I will say, anytime you ever want to do an on the road podcast at the studio, you're welcome to.
That's awesome.
Use that facility anytime.
That'll be kick ass, man. Let's get it done. So, thing comes off. That was a great show. Dan, here, that's yours. You can keep that.
I'm going home. I'm going home with the...
One last thing for Mario here.
Yeah, Kev, I had a question for you.
What's up?
What is a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
No, it's actually the C.
Yeah, you did tell me that before, too.
That's amazing.
Hey, and with that being said, guys, I am the man in the middle, Kevin Martinez, joined here by Dan Dearborn at Encore Studios. Make sure you guys check him out. Fantastic studio. It's been a pleasure. It's been one hell of an episode. I hope you all enjoyed
watching his podcast.
I hope you all enjoyed it, and we will see you again next week, and hopefully I won't have a patch. Peace.